for F1 2019, we're gonna use this particular software, RacingSimTools, to make our setup. So first of all, to configure our setup for a given track and see how we can improve our times. So we're gonna, as you can see, we've selected F1 2019 there. I'm going to select the car parameters, which I've saved previously. So what we've got here, I'm going to be driving the Mercedes, so get that. Okay, so the wheelbase 3.698, which I've got offline, and the front track 1.6, that's pretty standard. Okay, so now let's go into the game, and we're going to go into time trial. On the track we're going to work on today is USA. So let's have a look. My previous time I put up on here. In fact, I haven't. I did, but it must have been deleted since the last update. So what we're going to do is they've deleted my time completely. So my target time is going to be around 1:30. Yeah, the late 1:31 is probably around. That's the time I'm going to be aiming for. So if I can get a 1:32 flat, that would be good. Okay, so I'm going to go with this guy's setup for now. Just let the setup, see what he's been set up. So as you can see, he's running a very soft suspension, but his roll bars are in between 6 and 7, ride hazards 3 and 4. Okay, that brake pressure won't suit me, but I'm going to go with that for now. Okay, differential, 75, 85. Let's see what this feels like. And actually, I'm going to just use him as my benchmark as well, so set as Ghost.
last lap was at 1:33.4.
Okay, 1:33.4. So we'll go to the garage. Let's have a look at the data. Just good rule of thumb, always save your session. So that's from here. And we're going to call it USA time trial. Okay. All right. Ignore the first lap because of the, as you can see, it doesn't really pick up the data properly simply because you're starting from the pit lane. Okay. So second and third. Third was my best lap, so we'll go for my fast. Pretty much, yeah. 33.4. Yeah. Okay, so first thing we're going to look at handling tab, differential. So what this is telling you, front and left, front left and front right suspension of the suspension, the wheels. The red where it's going above 0, that's where we're locking up. So all these are lockups. All these are lockup. That's quite a big lockup there. Lockup. So 1, 2. Throughout the lap, I'm having a fair amount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 8 times I'm locking up, right? And then on my rears, so that's on the fronts. On the rears, again, I'm locking up there. I'm locking up there. I'm locking up here. All them are lockups, okay? And the ones that are underneath, that's wheel slip. So when I'm going on throttle. So if you just look at the bottom here, the red is throttle, blue is brake. So if I just zoom in there a bit and just go into the turn one, okay, I'm going to go into turn one there. Let me just bring that up here a bit. Okay, here we are. Turn one. So I start locking up till there is okay, but as soon as my differential starts opening up under off throttle diff, I start losing traction and the rears are spinning out obviously with the weight transfer, and that's what's causing the car to rotate and I kind of lose control of the car, and then I have a bit of a lockup on there on my front. If we go to turn 2, my second braking zone is where here we are. Again, I'm not 100% brake, I'm probably 50% brake there. Diff opens up slightly and the fronts are locking up there more so than the rears. Okay, let's go a bit further. Okay, let's go on to the main straight. Not made the main, before the main, one of the main straights, the longest straight, should I say, for the track. And again, under braking, as you can see here, when it's 100% off, 100% brake, my rears are 8 and 9 compared to my front one. So my rears are locking up under quite a bit there. We're going to have a look at the next straight now. If I have got the same problem there as well, then that basically means I need to change my brake bias. Okay, here, look again. My rears are locking up a bit there. So that tells me I need to start moving my brake bias a bit. Okay, so that's the first thing we need to do, brake bias. So I'm going to quickly go into here. Garage. And we're going to go into brakes. Okay, so brake bias 54. I'm going to take that to 57. So move it more to the front. But I'm also going to reduce that brake pressure. I'm going to take it down to 78 because there's too many lockups. Okay, that's the first thing we're going to do. Next part, so I'll just have a look at the full track again. There we are. The next part we're going to look at is the differential. So for that, what we're going to do, we're going to quickly go into tracker. One thing I forgot to mention, this bit here. This tells us the characteristic of the track. So if you look here, the greens at high speed, HS, high speed corners, yellows, low speed corners. So high speed corners, basically that's aero grip, aero balance. Low speed, that's mechanical grip. So if we start from the beginning of the lap, which would be somewhere around here, there we are. Okay, that's mechanical grip there, and then that's all aero until there, mechanical grip. That's pretty much on main straight, and then you got mechanical grip again there, mechanical grip there, but then you got all aero here on the C looking section. That's all aero, and then a bit of mechanical grip there. So in terms of the track state, we've got more aero. It's more aero dependent that is mechanical. Okay, so if you look at the grip metric, we're getting 4 Gs. We're pulling 4 Gs on grip metric. High speed, we're getting more grip on high speed than we are on low speed, which is fine. Okay, so now we're looking at the differential. If we go here and diff locking. Okay, so around that twisty section, this bit here, I didn't feel the car was very stable. So we're going to work on that now. That's which is a high speed. That's high speed turns there. So where it shows yellow, that's where the diff is opening up, probably in between 2 and 5%. I'd say it's opening up a bit. It opens up a lot here on the sharper turns, on the slower turns, but that, we're not looking at that. We're just looking at the fast speed at this moment in time. Okay, so I want to improve my aero there. So what we're going to do for that, bearing in mind we need to increase the overall grip metric. So we need to take that further up from 4.011, trying to take it to maybe 4.1, 4.2. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to lock that differential a bit. So if I just go here, 75 and off throttle, that's one thing I need to check. So if off throttle, if we go back onto here, handling and off throttle, so here we are, that's off throttle there. So if I just take this back here, what off throttle basically does is that you're working on your entry, how you enter into the turns. If you're understeering, then you need to open your differential up, the off throttle differential a little bit, but we'll work on that shortly. Okay, so there we are. It's opening up there, and that's causing me some lockups. Okay, so if you just go back here, 85, but I don't think I want to lock it any more than what it is. What I'm going to do, I'm going to balance them both. Right, at 80. I'm going to balance them both at 80. See how we got on with that. Next thing is aero. Now aero, we're running 5.6, but the suspension is very soft, so it's not going to give us very stable turn-ins. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn that to 3. Okay, 3.3. So we've got a bit more stiffer suspension, so that it makes the wings work a bit more. But at the same time, if I remember correctly, I was having a bit of oversteer. Now, quick way to find out if you've got oversteer, go into Race Engineer, car setup analysis. Okay, there we've got some oversteer, turn 7. So if we go look at turn 7, there we are, turn 7, oversteer, turn 8, oversteer. Did you have any? You had turn 3 showed understeer. Fair enough. Okay, but turn 7, turn 8, turn 12 understeer, which is here. Okay, I did run wide a bit there as well. Number turn 13 oversteer, but that could be down to the diff. So I don't really wanna. I'm gonna normalize now 6 and 7. That's inducing oversteer because the front roll bar is softer than the rear. I'm gonna normalize them both to 6 at the moment. See how we get on, and then we're gonna quickly look at the ride height. So if we go into aero, okay, can you see we're bottoming out big time here? Look at that. So if we look at the first, if we look here at the main straight here, one of the longest straights on the track, just before we start braking, -5, so it's nearly -6, and then -6.69 on the front, and then the rears is just bottoming out big time. So basically the rake is in a negative -14, which is not good. So basically we're scraping the ground big time. So we need to raise that ride height. But now we have stiffened the suspension. That will contribute to that getting lower. So that will improve. So without me changing anything, I'm going to first just see what difference that 3 springs is going to make. Okay. Change the brakes. Tires I'm going to leave as it is for now. So aero we're going to leave. Transmission we're going to leave. We've changed that transmission. We've got a balanced it. Suspension geometry, I'm going to leave that for now. Suspension, so we've increased the springs to 3.3. So we've stiffened the suspension so that it stops the car pushing to the ground more. It should reduce that. We've normalized the anti-roll bars, and we're going to leave the ride height as it is for now. Brakes, we've reduced the brake pressure, and also the front brake bias, we've moved it more to the front. Okay, so let's see how that fares now.
fastest lap is a 1 minute 33.4.
Pretty much better. Still a bit slippery. Let's see. Probably maybe half a second off on our time. 1 second off our benchmark. Twitch is still on the exit. Making progress. Just got the wheels up there. Okay, we're just going to quickly go into the garage again. So if you look at the time now, no, we need to find another half a second, right? Now if you look at the time, okay, we're just going to quickly just save this before we USA, in case the application crashes. In case the application crashes, yeah, we're just going to save it. Right, now if we look at the last, it should have improved our, okay, it's gone down to point, okay, well, let me just go a bit further forward there, take it just before we break. It's gone down to 10, so we've improved on the ride height, but it's still not brilliant. We're still in the minus, that's not good. Okay, scraping too much underground. Okay, compared to if we look at lap 2 there, it was minus 15, minus 14, so definitely improved. Okay, that's definitely improved. We're still going to increase that. It was a lot better on that C section. It was holding a much tighter line, and that's simply because of the springs. I increased the springs, that did help. But now we've still got oversteer. I could feel a lot of oversteer coming out of corners, and that should show up on here. There you go, turn 1 oversteer, turn 4 oversteer, all that. Okay, so we're gonna, that's more in the slower corners if I remember. So turn 1, yeah, that's a slow exit. Okay, then we've got turn 4. There again, I was having some oversteer, although that was a bit more quicker. If I look at here, turn 4, I'm just going to there. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3. It's around there. I think a bit of oversteer. The diff was opening up a bit as well. Okay, so go back in there. Yeah, so a bit of oversteer there. So what was the speed? What was the speed there? Speed there was 254. So it's still relatively fast. So that's more aero balance. Okay, that's fine. What else have we got? Turn 5, turn 6, turn 7, tons and tons of oversteer. Turn 9, that's one I noticed as well. There we are, yeah, turn 9. And then turn 11, I must have run wide. Okay, so let's try and get rid of some of that oversteer. So we're going to do for that. We're going to look at suspension again. This is all these 4 are neutral at the moment. Okay, first of all, let me just increase the ride height a bit by 1 click each. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to front anti-roll bar take up by 3 clicks, so that's going to induce understeer, but that's simply to dial out the oversteer. Let's see how we get on with that. Okay, and at the same time, I'm not going to play that at the moment, but my braking points, where was I locking up this time around? Okay, so I'm still getting frontal lockups, but not as much. But over here, this section I am. So I'm going to work on that shortly. You see there, on throttle now, that's a good example. So coming out, that was coming out of that hairpin, just there, coming out of the hairpin. Going on throttle, I was losing the back, and the back was slipping a lot. And I was basically not generating any grip. You can see how much, if I just go a bit, take it right to the lowest point. Look at that, minus 17 and minus 18 compared to my front. So obviously that when we put the power down, there's no grip at the back. And I had a lockup as well over there. Okay, so, and that's on throttle differential. So we're going to take that to 85. 83 for now, actually. 83. Let's see how we get on with that.
Our best lap so far is a 1:32.6.
Run wide. good now. Just quickly save it again. Don't want to lose the data. Right, my fastest was, okay, let's look at the 132.7. Okay, look at the phone. I'm going to look at race engineer again. I'm still looking up. Need to work on that a bit. And most probably brake pressure, because I'm happy with the front and rear balance at the moment. Although here, if I just take to turn 1, to be fair, I was going in a bit deep. So, but on 100% brake there. So on the 100%, I was locking up my fronts. My rears were, at that point, were not so bad, they were okay. But my front started locking up, and that's simply when I start turning in, because you can see the differential opening up. Okay, so that's basically what I'm turning in. But if I look at race engineer, let's have a look at the oversteer and understeer. Still got oversteer. I've still got oversteer. I could get rid of. Turn 12. Again, that's, I'd say, after the C. Okay, the first left before the C, after the C. Yeah. So that is relatively quick, and I'm getting oversteer. Okay, fine. Let's look at run. No, sorry, let's look at track. Let's look at the grip metric. Can you see it's improved 4.1, because if we go back to lap 2, it was 4.0. So our grip metric is definitely improving. Slight yellow has shaded out a bit, so it's looking better definitely, but it can still be improved. An aero. Let's have a look at the aero. Okay, now you can see more lines here. So they're coming up now. So if we go back onto the main straight here, before the braking zone, just before we brake there. Okay, the front's not bottoming out now, so that's good. But the back still is. Okay, so there's two things I can do. I can either raise the ride height or stiffen the rear spring, one or the other. And I'm gonna probably do a little bit of both. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take that to 4, but I am going to raise that a little bit. Let's see how we get on with that. And for the just gonna take that to 4. Take out a little bit of oversteer with the aero. Let's see how we get on. Brake bias into 9. it is one red. Let's see how we get on with that. Missed the apex. Had a decent exit. Still to check the acceleration. There you go, 132.1. Had to lift off there on that one. Right, okay, let's have a look at the data now. So going back to, I think let's quickly save it again. Okay, my fastest lap was at 132.1. Okay, now you can start seeing a bit more green and yellow, so that's good. Now let's have a look at that. Okay, so 100% throttle, 0 brake. I'm doing 326 in terms of top speed. And the rigs drop down to -8, so it's still out, it's still in negative. I need to get it more towards 0, but it's better than what I had on lap 2, which was -15. Okay, so definitely better, but something still we could work on. Okay, now look at the race engineer. Still got oversteer, still picking up oversteer, but I don't think it's as bad as it was. It's a lot more stable now. I'm going to just do one more thing to be able to get rid of that oversteer. And if we look at handling again, I'm still locking up a load, so I'm going to reduce that brake pressure, because here, although the rears, but that's under load transfer, so it doesn't give you a very representative idea. Although it's showing that my rears are locking up, but it's because when the load's transferring and you're turning in, you're going to get that regardless. Okay, so we're going to leave that, but we are going to reduce that. Let me just take it up to when I go 100% brake there. So there we are, just on that top part there. 7 and 6 compared to 3. Look, that's not bad. That isn't bad. But I could probably improve it. But I think if I reduce that brake pressure to 75, I think I'll be okay. And take that right all the way to 11. See how we go on with that. Let's play with that a bit now. Nail this braking point here now. Still no start. same mistake I made. Just understeering there. It's better. That was bad. But basically, lacking a bit of grip. I'm just gonna reduce that tire pressure a little bit. Down to there. I've not messed around with the cambers yet. But in effect, what normally happens, so you've got the roll bars. If you look at C11.6, okay, so I'm running stiffer front compared to rear to dial out the oversteer. So at the same time, so by running stiffer front, then you're going to put more load on the tires as opposed to the suspension. And by putting more load on, so negative camber, we're running maximum negative camber. To compensate for the 11.6, what this needs to be is somewhere like that. So if we look at there, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we go like that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, leave that as it is. See how we cope with that. Obviously, RST is the biggest combination because F129 does not upload that data. Alright, I can that's like that setup. pressures as well, slightly. Tons of oversteer there, but that's the only point I'm struggling with. I don't know if I want to change anything in my setup just for that sake of that corner. I am losing one. I did lose tons of time, so give it another go. Okay, let's just have a look at the telemetry now, see what kind of grip metrics I've got. So my last second, there we are, 132.1. 132.1 on my grip metrics. Okay, it's actually dropped compared to was this one here. Okay, so I've changed a few things, but I'm relatively happy with this setup. I feel more comfortable with it. I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to save this. There we go, that's saved. Still a few things I can improve on, but just to highlight, if you look at the last, I just want to see if any of the oversteer has been dialed out. Still got oversteer. Okay, so I still need to work on that a bit. And more so in the slower corners, I believe. Turn 10, yeah, it's more so in the slower corners. Right, and what we can do, so if you go to suspension, to dial out that oversteer, we're just gonna stiffen that front suspension up a bit. Let's see how that fares. with that. Add a bit more time. Not good. I think I've had enough for today. I'm gonna skip. I need to play around with it a bit. Two-tenths off. I'm happy with that. It's time to be gained. Definitely time to be gained in sector 2 and also sector 3. There you have it. Thank you very much for watching.